All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, December 4th, and we have a 5-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, make sure to keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of how we did yesterday, it looks a little worse than it is. A 2-3 night, but realistically a 2-2 night. Those two Wiggins plays were equivalent to the other three plays we had out there. Clippers Hawks under, that one comes through, and then Zach LaVine had 2 points. That one comes through. Nuggets money line and Jokic 25 plus points. Nuggets, yeah, they did their job. Jokic finished with 24, so some bad luck there, I guess. And then Andrew Wiggins, man, he shot the ball 18 times. 18 times. He had 11 points. 18 times he went 4 of 18. Dropping that womp for a wig, man. Yeah, that one stung. If you were to tell me that we're going to get 18 field goal attempts out of him, I would have been like, good look, Ev. You hit both of those plays. The longer shot one and then obviously the safe one. Nope. So, yes, I liked the read, but unfortunately, there's no ifs, ands, buts, coulda, woulda, shouldas in this industry. It's still a big old L that we got to wear on our forehead, right? In terms of the ride of the day, DJ kind of lucks out. We just dropped the womp. I'm not bringing that bad of vibes into this video, but the ride of the day does not come through here. DJ had a 3-legger same-game parlay. Now, Jalen Johnson did not play, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker did go for 20, and the Hawks do not pull out the win. The Clippers end up beating them. That was the 3rd leg there. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it is simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll in ride of the plays. If you do lose, yeah, I mean, you get the shout out, but unfortunately we're talking about an L, right? Guys, before we do dive into today's slate, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. You guys have been crushing it on the likes. Let's see if we can set a like goal. We got a couple comments yesterday being like, you should do some like goals so we feel part of something. First and foremost, you guys should always feel part of this. I recognize how much of a gear you are in this machine that we are building, but let's see if we can get to, let's say, 400 likes in today's video. Let's go ahead and dive into game number 1, all right? We're starting off with the Wizards taking on the Celtics. Right now, Wizards 9.5-point dogs. Total sitting at 229.5. Measured 299.5. You might be looking at this being like, why are the Wizards only 9.5-point dogs? Well, Jaylen Brown, he's not ruled out yet, but he's not in the expected lineup, and he's listed as doubtful here. So starting lineup for Boston is going to be Pritchard, White, Hauser, Walsh, and Queta. I don't necessarily think that Brown being out of the lineup makes me look at Washington at all. They're still a really bad team and a dumpster fire of a squad. I will say 2 of their 3 wins have come at home, which they are today, but nonetheless, it's still not a spot in which I'm considering them. They are really, really bad at covering the 3-point line, and guess what? The Celtics team really, really likes to shoot the 3 ball, as we know. So I'm still going to lean towards the Celtics here, minus the 9.5 points. But yeah, I mean, without Jaylen Brown, their best player right now, winning by 10 points is a tall task, but again, they're going up against such a poor team here. We'll get to the total in a second, but I do have a few player props that I like, and keep an eye on the final plays like I always say, because I'm still kind of circling which one I like here and which one we could potentially roll with, if any at all. But I do like a few guys to step up in Jaylen Brown's place from the 3-point line. You have Sam Hauser and Anthony Simons. Those are the 2 that I'm looking at in terms of being able to go out there and score. Now, Simon's line all the way up at 16.5, but it's still a decent enough spot for him, right? When we look at kind of the play types and everything like that, Simons is going to be spot up, ball handler, pick and roll ball handler, transition player. All of those Washington really struggles against, right? Now, Sam Hauser, we're talking just spot ups, being able to drain from downtown, catch and shoot, and all that. So those are 2 spots I'm looking at. But then a little bit lower down on the depth chart there, Josh Minot, why not Minot, and Jordan Walsh. Both their lines are at 7.5 right now. Jordan Walsh has been getting some run, right? 14 points against Cleveland. He had a really good game. In 19 minutes, he had 8 points against the Knicks. So he went out there and scored, decently against those two squads. And Minot, honestly, has had, 8 points plenty this season. I think like 11 of 20 games. So those are, again, which one do we pick is still the thing that we're kind of figuring out and circling around, but I don't necessarily mind any of those names to step up in Jaylen Brown's place. We look at this total, right? 229.5. I'm thinking the Celtics go out there and put up a decent enough number, so I think I'll lean towards the Celtics team total over. Even without Brown, I like them to be able to score on a bad defense like Washington. But can we really trust Washington at all to go out there and contribute to a total themselves? I mean, this season they have gone up and down, up and down. For example, 86 points against the Pacers, right? Next game against Milwaukee, 129. It's like, where'd that come from? Right back down to 102 against the Sixers. Too inconsistent for my liking. Next up, we have the Sixers taking on the Warriors. Injuries to note in this one: Paul George questionable, Joel Embiid doubtful, Kelly Oubre still out, same thing with Watford. Quentin Grimes also questionable, actually. On the Golden State side of things, no Steph Curry, and a bunch of other, I guess you could say, important injuries, right? Jimmy Butler, Al Horford, TJD, Jonathan Kuminga questionable here. I think Butler being obviously the biggest name there. No Steph Curry. Now it's like, oh man, what's Jimmy Butler going to do? Oh, now he's questionable. This lineup, I would say, needs Jimmy Butler to compete in a spot against Philadelphia. If he's not 100%, I can't really look at the Warriors in this spot. Now, both of these teams, I do think, have better defense than some might say. Now, the Warriors probably have the better defense, but I would say the Sixers have the better offense, so some things, level out, I guess, in a sense. I don't mind the idea of the Sixers here. They should be able to, I guess, to some degree, run on this Golden State team. Now, funny enough, we have the Warriors who have a higher pace or a lower pace ranking, so a higher, faster pace than the Sixers. But realistically, in terms of their transition defense, they're allowing teams to run all over them and score on them in transition. So that doesn't really work out if you're the Warriors, who, again, may up the pace in this spot. Philadelphia is no stranger to being like, hey, we'll go out there and score at a fast pace. I think that's what we see, someone like Maxey or even Edgecombe pushing the pace to be able to get some easy and efficient buckets. So I like the Sixers in this spot, especially because they are at home, -3.5 here. The total at 222.5, I think there's going to be good defense. I already mentioned, I think there's decent enough defense in this game, but 222.5 is far too low for my liking in this spot. I think that we see, anywhere between 220, I would almost say 227 to 232, which is a decent enough margin as to where we have this game pegged compared to, obviously, where we have it as the odds makers have put out the line. So I like the Sixers as well as the over. In terms of what we have from player prop perspective, nothing's really jumping off the page to me here. If anything, I don't mind the idea of like a Jimmy Butler or Paul George, but their points line are a little bit higher compared to what I would like, right? Paul George, 15.5. Don't necessarily love that. He's definitely been a little sporadic. Jimmy Butler at 21.5. And both these guys are, questionable to even play in this game. But the only true soft spot of the defenses, again, I speak fairly high, the defenses, is the mid-range. Golden State is allowing over 44%, actually both teams allowing over 44% field goal percentage in the mid-range. Both those guys obviously will look at the mid-range every now and then, right? Now, guys, before we do move on to the rest of the games here, we got 3 more to talk about. I want to talk to you guys about Underdog. They still have the awesome play $5, get $100 deal right now. Yeah, 20x that $5 just by placing an entry. But you're also going to get a gimme pick for Thursday Night Football tonight. Jahmyr Gibbs, 0.0 rushing plus receiving yards. That's right. He rushes for a yard. It cashes. He gets a catch and runs for a yard. Boom. It cashes. No brainer, guys. Check it out. Again, play $5, get $100. Absolute no-brainer. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. Make sure to use code GUYBOSTON when signing up. Those links should auto-apply it, but just make sure to use code GUYBOSTON. That's how you'll trigger all of these goodies. Go check it out, guys. Again, that link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. All right, we have a good one here. Maybe. We got the Nets taking on the Jazz. Right now, Nets on a back-to-back. They did take the win yesterday against the Bulls, so for what it's worth, maybe they are starting to head in the right direction. I mean, they have now 2 wins in a row, and that's 40% of their wins so far this season. Now, the Jazz aren't exactly a world-beating team on the road, right? They're just 1-7 on the road. The funny thing is, the Nets are 1-9 at home. Yeah, they have 5 wins, but 4 of those wins have come on the road. Are they finally going to get a home win? I don't necessarily hate the matchup. Now, I will give you that, this Utah team has Markkanen and Keontae George and Ace Bailey. They probably have a lot more talent than Brooklyn here, but I like a couple of the guys today. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is in a decent enough matchup, and if he's in a decent enough matchup, anything can happen with this Nets team, right? Like yesterday, he went for, 33 points, right? Oh, no, he just scores like that, right? It's just pretty crazy. Noah Clowney's also in a decent enough matchup. So the two guys that I would think are your primary scorers right now, obviously with the injuries that they have, are in a decent enough matchup. I mean, I don't know if it's worthy of the psycho alert alarm. Give me the Nets here, plus the 4.5 points. I do think that this is a team that, yes, they're on a back-to-back, but young enough legs under them, whereas it may not matter. And in fact, they may be able to just go out there and be like, hey, we have some momentum after a win yesterday. Now, Utah, on the other hand here, how do they match up? Where are they going to look to score from? They'll obviously try to score in the paint, which Brooklyn has not been all that great at stopping, but I do think that they'll gravitate a little bit more towards the outside. Brooklyn hasn't been the worst team in the league. They're a middle-of-the-pack team in terms of preventing points from 3, and specifically against pull-ups. Keontae George, Larry Markkanen, they're 2, point scorers here. This is a really good team. Weirdly enough, pull-up defense, #1 team in the league are the Nets in terms of effective field goal percentage against. That's crazy. So I think there's a lot of angles to get to the Nets here. Yes, like I mentioned, though, Utah probably has the #1 and #3 player in this game. If we put Michael Porter Jr. maybe at the 2, right? But I still think that, Michael Porter Jr. and Noah Clowney are in 2 favorable matchups. Now, I will say I like the catch and shoot a little bit more than I do the pull-up side of things for these Nets players. So maybe Noah Clowney, who leads the team in catch and shoot threes, is a decent enough look from a player prop perspective. I really don't mind him to go out there and hit 3 threes or something like that for plus money. You can get him right now, I believe, for over 14.5 points, so he needs to drop 15 for -130. He's done that in 6 of his last 7. I don't mind this spot whatsoever for him. I think that he's going to have a decent enough night. The one thing I will say, and we took him last year at one point, the last time we actually rolled with the Noah Clowney prop, I think it was over 14.5 points a year ago, he put up a goose egg. So do we get our vengeance tonight, or are we still going to be scared and stay off of it? We shall see. In terms of what we have from a total perspective, because like I said, we like the Nets. We like those 2 players. I do think that the Nets on a back-to-back, if they're smart whatsoever, will look to slow down a Jazz team that's the #2 pace team in the entire league. So that's probably where I'd look. The Nets trying to slow things down and take the under 232.5 in this one. Because again, it's not like the Jazz are all that efficient of an offense, and same thing for the Nets, right? And if the Jazz do try to shoot a bunch of those threes, the Nets, like I mentioned, not exactly the worst perimeter defense. So I don't expect a ton of points in this game, but I'm giving credit to the Nets defense around the perimeter. It's really not like they have a world-beating defense altogether. These are 2 bottom 5 teams in terms of defensive efficiency. So yeah, an under could be a tough one to swallow. Raptors taking on the Lakers. No Luka in this one for the Lakers. Looks like they're saying he's sidelined for the first leg of a back-to-back. They have the Celtics on deck here, so obviously that's worth noting. A couple important injuries on, I guess, Mark Smart also worth noting that he's out for the Lakers, but a couple important injuries for Toronto. RJ Barrett's still out, and now Jakob Poeltl is out. So Mama Kalashevavisi, I think I'm pronouncing his name pretty well. Mamu Kalashevavisi. Yeah, we're not even close to that one. Even though we've said it right on the channel before, but you know what? It's neither here nor there. He's in place of Poeltl. So him, Barnes, Ingram, Walter, and Emmanuel Quickley is going to be the starting lineup here. For the Lakers, it's going to be Vincent, Reeves, Hachimura, James, and Aiden. The rest of those names I can pronounce pretty damn well. So, yeah, I do think that Luke obviously being out is a massive, massive loss to this Lakers squad, especially when this season they've been such a pick-and-roll ball handler scoring team, a heavy pick-and-roll team, and an isolation team, 2 ways that Luke obviously likes to score. So where do we go in this one? It's tough because this Raptors team likes to score in the mid-range, likes to score in the restricted area. The Lakers allowing 73% of their opponents in the restricted area, 49% of their opponents in the mid-range. Those obviously work out. But again, no Jakob Poeltl, no RJ Barrett. Those are 2 guys that can step up in those zones. I don't necessarily like this Lakers defense as of right now, okay? And the Raptors, I think, have a sneaky good defense. They like to run in transition, but, they can also stop transition and prevent teams from running in transition. They are very good, and you guys will notice this if you watch these. They are very good at dictating whether or not they want to play fast or if they allow the other teams to run in transition. They get back, they turn transition possessions defensively into half-court possessions. It's good stuff from the Raptors. I'm going to trust that a little bit more than I've seen from the Lakers. So give me the Raptors here, minus the 2.5 points. I could definitely see someone arguing for the Lakers in this spot. Obviously, Austin Reeves has been looking really good. And no RJ Barrett, no Jakob Poeltl. The Lakers liking to get into the paint. No Jakob Poeltl's another big body gone from down there. So yes, I could see the argument, but to me, Raptors all the way, especially at home with the Lakers in a look-ahead spot against one of the biggest rivalries in sports, right? Or what was one of the biggest rivalry in sports, Lakers-Celtics. So Raptors minus 2.5 is what I'd look at here. Also don't mind the idea of, this one going under. Like I mentioned, Toronto is very good at dictating whether or not they want to slow things down or not. I don't see a reason in which they need to run with this Lakers squad. And if I were to give the Lakers defense credit here, in terms of transition frequency defensively, they're 11th in the league. So they've been themselves decent enough at preventing teams from running, right? So if we give them a little credit there, I do think that is, fair enough. But overall, yes, I like the Raptors. And by the way, they also are on the first leg of a back-to-back, but they have, it's escaping me right now. We can probably find it. They have a really bad team. Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets coming up. I don't think that they care too much about that one, even though, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, I get it. All right, we got the Pelicans taking on the T-Wolves. We did just see this matchup a couple nights ago, and surprisingly, the Pelicans took this one to OT. They got off to a big lead, both the, I think it was the second quarter in which they won by like 15, something like that. But they ended up losing 149 to 142. They did cover, though. They're 12.5-point dogs in that one. We saw 44 from Anthony Edwards, 26 from Gobert. We had Dante DiVincenzo over points plus assists at 16.5. He finished with 15 and 5. I would go right back there, by the way, that player prop. I like it. I think his line's probably going to be up to, 17.5 now. But again, I still do like Dante DiVincenzo in this matchup. I think he'll get the usage, and he should be able to hit a couple threes. Same sort of rationale that we talked about last time these two teams played. But I will say, the Pelicans showed a little bit of grit in that game. I don't think we can take that away from them. That was without Zion as well in this spot. Still no Zion, no Jordan Poole, no DeJounte Murray, no Yves Missi, Herb Jones out. Like, this is a team that has no business hanging around with the Timberwolves, but they did hang around with them last time. I can't buy into it, though, obviously, with all those guys out. I can see, them being like, hey, we got this team. We're at home, played hard last time. But realistically, on paper, this Minnesota team should be able to go poop and blow them away, right? One of the better defensive teams in the league, one of the better offensive teams in the league, now going up against the Pelicans, who are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. 12 points shouldn't be all that hard to win by. So I'm going to lean towards Minnesota. In terms of the total, I would say Pelicans team total under. I don't even know if I mind a game total going under. These two teams just put up, damn near 300 points against one another last time out. I can't see that being the case again. Now, obviously, that did go to overtime, and I believe in overtime there was like 40 or maybe 35 points scored. I can't see that happening again here, but ultimately, I just think the Timberwolves defense steps up. So maybe instead of saying, hey, the Pelicans defense will step up, we can just look at like a team total under for the Pelicans, which right now, in terms of that, you're looking at, what do we got here? Minus 140 for 112.5. Yikes, under 112.5. Maybe that's something that we consider. But I do think Minnesota's defense steps up a hell of a lot better than it did last time. And like I said, player prop-wise would be Dante DiVincenzo. I like his points plus assists yet again. I also don't mind his threes. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Like I said, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get to 400 likes on today's video. And if you made it this far in the video, comment 400 down below. Let's get things rolling here. Starting to find our footing, right? We've had kind of an up and down NBA season. Ultimately, we're a few cents profitable right now, which is obviously great. Anything in the green is good. But I feel like we're finding our fastball. The elbow's warming up, the shoulder's warming up, and it's starting to get real fun. So really do appreciate you rocking with me. Hopefully your seasons are going well. Again, comment 400 if you made it this far in the video. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.